Hello everybody and welcome. Happy New Year, Sunday Hoops. We're into 2023, but the NBL action continues to heat up. Big day, Melbourne. 2 wins, but one in particular. Well, I apologise. The JJ's belt Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, but they're the story. Melbourne, there you go, belt Brisbane. I'll get it right. I'm tired. Crossover, overtime. Liam Santa Maria, Damon Lowry, hello to you.
Happy New Year, fellas.
Happy New Year.
There's a lot to get into. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix is the story for me, hence why I've made a mistake off the top. We'll get to that in a moment. But Rayjon Tucker was brilliant today. And this Melbourne United team is starting to roll. 20 points, 6 boards for the man who, again, helped United on the road get the job done. And he joins us now. Mate, nice job, Rayjon. You were brilliant. This team's starting to play a little more than we kind of probably expected them to at the start of the year. I don't know, we're doing the highlights of Rayjon Tucker. I don't know, you got us, Rayjon?
I'm here, I can hear you.
We got you, man. How you doing? I was just saying, you're starting to roll. You're looking comfortable. The team's looking a lot better.
Oh, yeah, definitely. We finally got our full team back. Injuries in the first bit of the season. Now we're starting to roll, click, especially how we're supposed to the first game.
Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, just personally, mate, you are obviously playing a little bit better than you were earlier in the year. Is it a maturing thing? Is it a fitting with the team thing? Is it getting used to the league? What do you put it down to, how you're finding your form right now?
Just getting used to the league, the spacing. This game over here is totally different than the NBA. Just finding my spacing. During the break, I worked diligently on my jump shot, so they had to play me honest to create more for my teammates and myself. So my coaches and my teammates have been, telling me to shoot the ball, and they've given me the confidence to play my game.
That's been a game changer for you, Rayjon, no doubt about it. Hitting that 3-ball in recent times. Wasn't there in the first half today, but then wasn't in the second. Oh, when it got tight, 72-70 at one point late in that game, you guys responded. What was the difference for you guys when you turned that around and took control of the game?
Just defensively, we got stops. We got the shots that we were looking for. We searched and hunted great shots, and CG got going super early, and that sparked us. And then I hit a couple threes, so that just got our confidence rolling, and we just took off from there.
Rayjon, Damon here, man. First of all, welcome to Australia. We haven't had a chance to have a chat yet. But like everybody's been talking about, your scouting report early in the season is way different than what it is now, man. And you got a couple coaches that I played against, Reese Carter and D-Mac. Can you give us some specific details of how they've helped your game turn around?
They've been giving me confidence, like I said. I work on it after practices. Then I come back at nights and get my jump shots in. Me and D-Mac work, me and Reese work, where I'm making 5 in a row down to 4 all the way, and I don't leave the gym until I finish that routine, and then I come back later and do the same thing. So really just honing in on all my other aspects, floaters and different things of that nature, where they're really polishing me all the way around.
Obviously, when it comes to the ladder, you're a little lower, and you heard from the camp, or at least from your assistant coach during the week, that like every game's it's a gold medal game. Every game it's do or die. So you're playing with a little bit of house money. Does that lessen the pressure to play your best basketball right now, do you think? Does it give you that opportunity to go out and play a bit more freer?
There's never no pressure. We're professionals. We come out here and we play our game to the highest ability every game. But obviously, we want to make that run and make that push. So every game is definitely important. And that's how we come in with that dedication and that determination, to win every game, every possession, to get that done.
Rayjon, you guys are 10-12. You've won 4 of your last 5. Cam and I, I'm not sure about Damon, Cam and I, we are part of the naysayers. We put a line through you guys a couple of weeks ago, but you're still in this thing. Do you think you'll make the playoffs?
Definitely. That's what we're heading for. We still got a lot more basketball to play. We could win out and do exactly what we've been doing this past month and, continue to do it this month. I think we have a great chance, to get a playoff berth and, potentially get a championship.
Rayjon, we appreciate your time as always, mate. Rest up, ice up. Big month ahead for Melbourne United and yourself. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good one. Happy New Year's.
And to you, Happy New Year. 20 points, 6 boards for Rayjon Tucker. 4 of 5, as you said. The only game they've lost was Christmas Day. No Chris Golding, of course. So in the end, the Kings were too good. Before we move on to something that we're linked to a couple of days ago, anything out of that game? No Aaron Baines. Chris Golding was brilliant. Anything for you too?
Gorjak Gak. Like I said the other day, If I'm the Brisbane Bullets, I'm locking up Gorjak Dak, DJ Mitchell, and Tanner Krebs on 3-year deals. Obviously, you got Terrell Harrison, obviously keeping him. Sobey still got plenty left in the tank, but you got to build around those 3 young guys. Those guys are the future of the Bullets.
Yeah, Gak's terrific. I mean, he's got to play minutes the rest of the way. I know Baines sat out in this one, and he went ahead that double-double. Massive offensive rebounding count. He's got to play those kind of minutes, I think, the rest of the way, Gorjak Gak. Rayjon Tucker and Chris Goulding, they'd combined for 10 points at halftime, and they're the key to this team. So they weren't able to keep the clamps on them in that second half, and Melbourne went away with it.
Definitely make it. Tucker's words, will they?
No.
Now they're going to fall short.
All right, they got linked. Now, they win today. They got linked, though, to comments that Adam Thorne made. Keanu Pinder, of course, made... he got injured, so he didn't play in that big win last night. We'll get to that in a moment. But about some of the defensive attention towards him. Here's Adam Thorne, the coach of the Taipans, a couple of days ago.
I'm asking for protection for Keanu out there because... they make no secret about him being targeted. They make no secret about him being a key focus of their defence. But the reality is he's so dynamic and so athletic and so gifted that they don't have anybody necessarily capable of defending him one-on-one. And because he's not a off the on-ball back to the basket, his double teams are coming at a point where he's going downhill. This jeopardises what we're trying to do throughout the season. This jeopardises our season because we don't have the luxury, right, to bring someone else in, an NBA champion mid-season. Yeah.
A frustrated, candid and fairly honest Adam Ford. Damon?
Well, he's obviously got to stick up for Keanu. And I think a lot of times these coaches got to try to work the refs. Mm-hmm. They don't always believe everything they're saying, but you got to put it out there, right? Now, as far as targeting Keanu, if you're the opposition and you're not targeting Keanu, what the hell are you doing? He's the best player on the team. You better target this guy or he will kill you. So I'm all for every team in the league targeting the best player on every other team in the league. In 40, I think he's just kind of some sly working of the refs.
No doubt. And I'm here for it. He comes from that Perth Wildcats school of protecting Bryce Cotton. At this point, every season, you got to get out on the front foot and say, hey, can we pay some attention to the fouls that are going with Bryce Cotton, the grabbing and the holding, and he's doing a similar thing here with Keanu Pinder. But there's no doubt teams are more attached to Keanu than they were at the start of the season. They're staying with him as the role man. They're doubling him in the block. Now, the question is, are they trying to hurt him? No. Are they trying to injure him? No. And I think the answer to that is no.
On that note, we'll get to a break. They had a huge win. We'll talk about the Cairns Taipans very shortly. They were amazing last night in their comeback without Keanu Pinder. The crossover, the overtime, we mashed it all up. We'll be back with plenty more. Happy New Year's basketball chat on the other side of this. There was an excited Cairns playing outfit, coaching crew, sold out stadium, historic comeback from a team who desperately need to stand up and deliver. That had a couple of poor games leading in against Melbourne and Perth. It looked like they were nearly done. I think Adam Ford was about to clear the bench, wasn't he? And all of a sudden they go on this run and they beat a team who's on a very similar path when trying to stay in that playoff race.
Ridiculous win.
Huge.
It was an amazing win. Down 18. They had no business winning that game. Adelaide just completely stopped. They thought they had the game done and dusted, and that's a massive win for the Taipans in terms of this run home. A double points game in terms of another team in that mix, but also just the character that it takes to stick with it in that type of situation and come away with the dub.
You need two teams to have a great comeback win like that. You need one team to show unbelievable resilience, and then you need the other team to show the opposite. But the Cairns Taipans, out of all the good stuff that was happening, Shannon Scott was going nuts, everybody was pitching in, Tajir McCall will not quit. This dude will not. He don't care if you win or lose, whatever. Tajir's going to give you everything. They found a good import in this dude. He keeps playing. He'll take the charges. He'll make the hockey assist, the proper assist. He'll shoot the weird one-legged floatery thing. The dude just competes nonstop. You got to have a guy like that.
And that's the type of reason why Adam Ford wanted to bring him back. People were like, oh, but he does it. What is he? Is he a point guard or the turnovers and the like? He was like, in this guy, we have the culture builder, the culture setter on the day-to-day and in games. That's why he handed him the reins to coach a game at the Blitz. Like what the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix have in Mitch Creek, he feels like they have into Tajir McCall.
And there must be a great deal of frustration for Adelaide. They're building. Ian Clark comes in. We'll get to that in a moment and where he was at certain aspects late in that fourth quarter. But they're building the momentum. They get a win a couple of days earlier. They go to Cairns knowing, as you said, 8-point game, swings, momentum. You know, championship or bust, been in the great deal of media during the course of the week, which I think is great for the league. And they blow one. And all of a sudden, they're a game closer to being in that dogfight to make sure that, hey, not just a wildcard game, but not hosting a wildcard game, or maybe getting into the top 4, even to the top 2, and then all of a sudden you're in a dogfight. That's one that stings.
It was a shocking loss. It was a terrible,
Tell us how you really feel.
bad. I just can't believe they lost that game.
Can either you two explain why?
They stopped playing. They
stopped
thought they
playing.
had it won.
Yeah, well,
they
More details, Liam. More details.
No. Honestly, I don't think it takes more than that. In this league, if you are not on the edge, you're going to get run over. And if you don't have all your guys like the Phoenix didn't, and you're going to get run over by the Jack Jumpers. They switched off because they thought they had the game, so every single play didn't matter as much as it did previously, and they got run over.
I don't like your switch off. I agree, but I don't like. Let's dig deeper into the switching off. Because they turn the ball over. They take horrific shots. Their offense stinks. It stinks. Like I'm
all
looking
game.
at it.
You're talking all game or in that
Late
period.
in that fourth quarter when you're up.
Because they switched off.
You call it switching off. I'm saying they try to find a mismatch. There he is. Everybody stands around and just watches. Jack Jumpers don't play that way. Everybody's moving. They get into the basket. Guys get into the free throw line. They sell out for the mismatch. If Robert Franks thinks he's got the mismatch, he'll just stand there. DJ thinks he's got the mismatch, he'll just stand there. Everybody's standing there. Terminal shots, 2 shot clock violations. You say it's switching off. I'm saying the offensive structure is garbage.
But the issue for them is, and for what you're saying, is that playing that way got them the lead in the first place. Hunting the mismatches, DJ with the fadeaways over a smaller guy, got them the 18-point lead in the first place. They just got sloppy with it. They just got sloppy with it down the stretch. The elbow catch, turnover, the guy's open in the corner. They're just... the switches weren't there where they needed to be. I just feel like mentally they turned off and they got over it.
There's gears in cars. You can't stay in 4th gear all the time. You're coming up to a stop sign. Shift, downshift. You can't keep playing the same way. And then why don't you play some defense on the other end and stop giving up layups?
Well, that hurt them late. Now, Ian Clark, he's working his way back into not just the league, but the team and probably a little bit of fitness as well. It was an interesting time. The momentum with Cairns continues to be. He comes back in. The game's a lot closer than it was when he got... Were you surprised?
The game didn't flip when Ian Clark came out of the game. The Taipans were already starting to roll over them. I think hindsight's a wonderful thing. I think if CJ Bruton had his time over again, he probably wouldn't bring Ian Clark out of the game. But that happens in every game. It happened today for Dean Vickerman. He took Chris Golding out of the game. It went pear-shaped. He threw him back in and he hit another 3. So that's what CJ did. It was all too late. The train at that point was off the tracks.
Yeah, I'm not going down that road. I'm not taking that path that Ian Clark should have been out there. When he was subbed out, I think they was up 6.
6.
So what?
From 18.
Yeah, but still, he had 15 points in 19 minutes. But that's not the problem. I'm trying to get to the source of the problem. If Ian Clark was out there, the offense still stinks. Everybody's still standing around.
But I think as Liam touched on, the offense does kind of, if you're suggesting it stinks, it works to a solid extent because they led by 18 points on the road against a really good team, right? So
And they've been rolling in recent games.
They have been. Well, they'd won 4 in a row prior to this as well.
They just took the foot off the pedal. And you talked about the defence. That's the team that wants to get out in transition and run and flow and found Antonius Cleveland on the rim, and they weren't getting stops down the stretch there because they were all on their flat feet and weren't getting it done.
Now, the JJs were great. They were great today. They belted around southeast Melbourne Phoenix, but I legit think the story is the Phoenix, and I don't mean playing, coaching or anything. I just mean these injuries, and they continue to mount on up. Trey Kell left the game fairly early today with a knee knock. We cross fingers for everyone that he's going to be A-OK. We know they're missing guys. Joe Chi's gone home. Where does that all sit? We don't really know. It sucks because they got hurt last year as well, and it sucked in the second half of the year, and that is the big story for me because we know how talented they are. When they get rolling, how good they can be. But to get rolling and be really good, you have to have your guys on the court.
They legitimately thought they might have to postpone this game a few days ago, the Phoenix, because they had guys with testing positive with COVID, and then they had other guys who had flu-like symptoms. They thought Junior Madud had a stress fracture, and they went off and got scans. They had injuries left, right. They thought, we're not going to have enough guys to actually put out there to play this game. They went out. They had those guys on the court. Like I know you want to talk about, Damon, and they hung with it for a while, but they got overrun. The pressure in the backcourt, they folded like a cheap chair.
You're going to combine 2 cliches then, weren't you?
Well, what are they?
You went, it's deck chair, fight like a cheap deck chair, or just they were all over them like a cheap suit.
That's what happened.
This is a top 3 or 4 league in the world. In the world, I don't want to hear it. Stop talking about who's not here, who's sick. Why do we do this, Australia? Why do we keep doing? We can't give a slightest pass. If you walk over that line, the mentality has got to be, I'll win this game. I can win this game. I don't care if I got to start on Foxwell. I don't care if Junior Madud got to play 25 minutes. Can we win? If you don't think you can win, forfeit the damn game.
But hang on, but they did. They rolled out and they
rolled
busted
out.
their backside like they did in Adelaide last week.
They lost because they wasn't good enough.
No, because
and they weren't good enough because they didn't have their guys.
Well, if here we go. We always do this. We always give a team a pass.
Hang on.
It's the mentality.
That sounds great in a Coach Carter movie.
Yeah.
But in a top 3 or 4 league in the world, if you don't have the talent, you can coach until the cows come home. But you're not going to beat these teams on a regular basis.
Why are we playing the game?
But hang on, but it's not like they rolled out and just gave up. They did bust their backside. They did last week in Adelaide. But when you're missing Brown, Kell gets hurt, Brockhoff's on the sideline, you're missing guys, and Madut, Foxwell are great depth guys, and they have provided great energy off the bench. You have to be able to find and see there's a slight excuse why this team, who a lot of people thought can be good, probably didn't play up to their ultimate in the last week or 2.
Did they beat the Sydney Kings in overtime?
Yeah, with dudes who
With
aren't there.
Alan Williams was there. He fouled out Alan Williams. Stop fouling out. Mitch Creek, get Mitch the ball. Mitch was going nuts, went away from him. Now, Trey Kells, yes, he left the game hurt, and we all hope he's fine.
Absolutely.
But you left the game also with a bad knee and 2 points. You wasn't doing anything anyway. I'm saying this team had enough to win. We cannot give them a slight little pass because I'm telling you they'll take it. But Mitch Creek, though, see, he's a warrior. Mitch is disappointed in himself right now by how he kind of allowed himself to be kind of forgotten about. Mitch is a warrior. He knows he can single-handedly win a game by himself. That's got to be the mentality.
JJs were great.
Really good.
And we'll talk a little more about them on NBL Overtime on Tuesday night. A very quick break, plenty more on New Year's Day 2023 next. New Year's Eve, the Wildcats and the Hawks go at it, and this man, talking about players finding form, into the starting five about a month ago, and since then the Wildcats have been rolling. 25 points. Corey Webster, NBL champion, superstar for the Tall Blacks, has been and done it all across the world, and he's just reminding us, if he was a little underrated with the signing in the off-season, how big it has been. He's been brilliant. The Wildcats are getting much, much better. But then the news starting to just leak out that his brother, Ty Webster, might be looking to return to the NBL, and he's keen on Perth. Can you tell me?
It's an interesting situation. He was in Turkey, of course, wasn't loving life in Turkey, is my understanding. The fascinating element of this, though, is that his rights in the NBL are held by the New Zealand Breakers right now. That's the terms of his release to go and play in Europe. So they're going to need to play ball. There's negotiations taking place behind closed doors or behind the scenes with the Wildcats, with Ty Webster's representatives and the Breakers. And if you're the Breakers, well, you can play a little hardball right now. And my understanding is that's a little bit of what's taken place.
And that's exactly kind of the ball I would play if I was the Breakers. You're not getting this guy. I'm not going to help another team that's going to try to probably put me out. So no way. So even if they were to release him, which I don't think they will, I don't think it'll be a good fit.
So just before you go there, so by hardball, you mean that New Zealand don't want to release him, which means he can't play in the NBL, or they want him to play for the Breakers?
My understanding is the terms of his rights being held is not that there's a buyout. It's you can't play for anyone else in the NBL apart from the Breakers in this season. But the negotiations are taking place. So now there's a buyout conversation occurring. I think it'll get done. I think the deal will get done and he'll wear the black and the red. And if you told me a year ago that both Websters were going to be playing for the Wildcats, I probably would have passed out.
Now, I am with you. I think it will end up being the case that if he wants to, he'll play for the Wildcats. But you don't like it?
I don't like it. It's not a good fit. The backcourt is already, it's just now getting solid. Now that Corey is in the starting lineup with Bryce, now it's looking like that potent backcourt that we thought was going to be. Then you bring in Mitch Norton to come off the bench to give you a little bit of a defensive punch. You got Luke Travers playing a little bit of a weird kind of a point thing. So to bring Ty in, who is a scoring guard, don't know if this dude wants to get buckets. I just think it's too crowded in the backcourt with him.
I assume this also means the end of any Bryce Cotton citizenship.
That's not happening this year.
It's not happening this year?
No.
I know it's always bubbling.
Will it ever
the
happen?
Wildcats and the Red Army, so, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Look, I'm with you. It'll be an interesting dynamic. But if you can add a talented player like Ty Webster, you're just like, let's just see how it works. But then you've got to fit him in this time of the year. Whips are cracking. It will be interesting to see him. But one thing that I can say as a NBL lover, I want to see him back in the league.
Oh, it'd be great.
It's
going to be great to see him back in the league. I think if Todd Blanchfield was playing at the level that he usually does, they wouldn't be looking to do this. Yeah. He's been so up and down this season and probably usually down than up. So they're looking to say, all right, geez, we need to find some extra scoring punch off the bench.
Yeah, if it was a rebounder, if Ty all of a sudden grew to 6'6" and get on the glass, I'd be really interested then. But a guard, that's not what they need.
On that note, Damon, Liam, thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone else behind the scenes, thank you. And to everyone watching right around the nation, Happy New Year. NBL Hoops firing up. January has just started.